I'd say the things that are similar to me between sci-fi and fantasy are that both of them tend to have a lot of very creative elements, a lot of imaginary elements. And you can still use the same sorts of like mythological structures to the story in science fiction as you do fantasy. And that's why, as a reader, I often bounce between sci-fi and fantasy. You know, I'd be reading Tolkien one day, and I'd be reading Asimov or Clarke or Dan Simmons or Frank Herbert the next day. And I mean, like, Dune is basically a fantasy story. It really is. For all the science fiction elements, it's really a fantasy story. And that's why, in my mind, they really are, if not exactly the same genre, they're brother-sister. The biggest difference, actually, to add on to that, the biggest difference between sci-fi and fantasy for me is that in fantasy, you break the laws of physics and you say, how did that happen? And you say, well, a wizard did it. And in science fiction, you break the laws of physics, and when asked why or how, you say, well, I reversed the tachyon field with the flux capacitor. For me personally, I found that this might sound odd, but the biggest challenge for me with the science fiction is the fact that spaceships do not go any faster when there's an urgent need. So, you know, in fantasy, if you need to get from point A to point B faster, you can say, well, the characters kind of sort of spur the horses on a little faster, right? Or they run faster on their own 2 feet because it's an urgent mission. But in science fiction, it doesn't work that way. It's just like with a car. You have your top speed, you're not going any faster than that. The engine can only do so fast, which was a challenging but fun limitation to work around.